Now, we all love our football, and when it comes to cup competitions, the world goes mad for the World Cup, the Euros, the Champions League, and even the FA Cup. But the English League Cup? Not so much. Now, why is that? Let's have a look at some reasons why.
So up first, we got the big one, the ultimate football tournament, the FIFA World Cup. Why do we love it? Because it's countries from all over the world playing other countries from all over the world. What a good idea. So next up, we got the UEFA European Championships, or the Euros. And this is where countries from all over Europe play other countries from all over Europe. Slightly smaller tournament to the World Cup, but we still love it. Again, what a great idea. So next up is the Champions League, which is probably the most prestigious club tournament in the world. Why do we love it? Because it's all the best club teams in Europe playing each other. Again, what a fantastic idea. What was that? Non-league teams beating professional teams? Yep, that's the magic of the FA Cup. And this is a photograph of when non-league Sutton United beat Coventry City in 1989. So then back to the English Football League Cup, which is English professional teams playing other English professional teams. And that's it.
So yeah, the League Cup. Doesn't really have the same magic about it, does it? But in 2017, Championship side Bristol City beat Premier League giants Manchester United. Because of its giant-killing nature, there was a real sense of romance about it. But in the League Cup, this kind of cup fever is rare. The reason we love the World Cup, the Euros, the Champions League and the FA Cup is because there's something interesting about every fixture. Something that cannot be said for the current English League Cup. So what could we do to the format of the League Cup to make it more interesting? Luckily, somebody's come up with a great idea.
Welcome to the British Cup.
What was that? Did he say the British Cup?
Yep, you heard him right. The British Cup is what he said. Give it to us one more time.
The British Cup.
But there's one thing you should know about the British Cup. It wasn't my idea, it was this guy's.
Hello.
Hello, but while you're there, can I ask you some questions?
Okay.
Good, so tell us more about the British Cup. Which teams will be taking part?
So, teams from the Premier League, Championship, League One and League Two in England, the Premier League, Championship, League One and League Two in Scotland, the Premier League of Wales, the Premier League of Northern Ireland and the winners of the second tier in Wales and Northern Ireland as well.
So with all these extra teams from Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales, do you think the Premier League will complain about too many fixtures or fixture congestion?
No, funnily enough, in the current format to win the League Cup you need 7 games, or if you're competing in Europe you need 6 games to win it. In the format of the British Cup it's 6 games for every Premier League team, so actually some Premier League teams will be playing less games with this format.
Good, sounds interesting. But how will the British Cup work? Have you come up with a format?
Yes, I've come up with a simple, clear tournament structure. Let's have a look. So in round 1, invited to participate at this early stage are 48 teams from League 1 and 2 in England, 30 teams from the Championship, League 1 and League 2 in Scotland, plus the 26 teams from Wales and Northern Ireland. These 104 teams are drawn against each other randomly, with 52 teams progressing to round 2. In round 2, 24 teams from the Championship in England and 12 teams from the Premier League in Scotland join the 52 teams who have progressed from round 1. These 88 teams are drawn against each other randomly, with 44 progressing to round 3. Round 3, 20 teams from the Premier League in England join the 44 teams who have progressed from round 2. These 64 teams are drawn against each other randomly, with 32 teams progressing to round 4. Round 4, 32 teams become 16. Round 5, 16 teams become 8. In the quarter-final, 8 teams become 4. In the semi-final, 4 teams become 2. The semi-finals are played as a one-off fixture at a neutral venue. And that brings us to the final, where one team will lift the British Cup.
So the numbers all add up. And by the looks of it, for the smaller clubs that are entering in the first round, they only have to win 2 games before they meet a Premier League side. It's quite an incentive. But other than this, why do you think the British Cup would be a better alternative to the current English League Cup?
In a nutshell, far more interesting fixtures. So, for example, smaller teams from Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland have the potential in the very first round to be drawn against ex-Premier League clubs like Blackburn, Wigan, Charlton, Wimbledon. We also have the possibility in round 2, when the Scottish teams come in with the Championship teams, you could get fixtures with great history like Celtic against Nottingham Forest or Aston Villa against Rangers. You've also got scenarios whereby teams from the Welsh Domestic League could play against Swansea and Cardiff, who are Welsh teams playing in the English League. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to create really interesting fixtures in competitive football between British clubs that wouldn't happen in any other situation. And I also think for some of the smaller teams in Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland, the chance to be drawn against a Premier League club is a massive revenue generator and an opportunity for great exposure.
Sounds exciting. But have you thought of any negatives of the British Cup or any problems it might bring?
Yes, I think that some of the smaller clubs in Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland could potentially have longer journeys than they would for their own domestic cups. But I think that would be offset by increased revenue. I think some of the Premier League clubs could complain about additional journeys which they don't currently have in the League Cup format. But again, I think that would be offset by additional revenue, and it's nothing in comparison to the travel that they have in the Champions League.
Yeah, I'm sure the smaller clubs could certainly do with the extra revenue. But speaking of Europe, the British Cup could be classed as an international tournament. Do you think UEFA might object to this?
No, because there's a precedent set in 2016 when UEFA authorised a tournament called the Challenge Cup, and that involved teams from Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales. All I'm saying is let's add the English clubs in and make it a British Cup.
Absolutely. Well, the British Cup certainly sounds like a very interesting concept. Nice talking to you. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
So the British Cup. Yeah, it probably will be won by a Premier League team in the end. But early on we get these interesting fixtures and romantic cup ties. Just like in the World Cup, Euros, Champions League and FA Cup. We'd all want to see it. The world would want to see it. But at the moment, the League Cup really, it's just an excuse to field a weaker side. Hold on, my phone's ringing. It's the Bristol City manager. Better take it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you agree. Hello? Yeah, I know Mourinho took it seriously. Yeah, I know he put out a strong side. I know Guardiola was impressed. You probably could compete in the Premier League. We're not saying the League Cup's rubbish. Look, you've already had a mention. Don't worry.